how to apply for exchange. So step 1, research. You probably have a country that you want to go to in mind. I always knew I wanted to come to Japan, and a lot of what I say in this video will probably apply to applying to exchange in Japan, but you can take most of the information and use it to apply to go anywhere. Spain, South America, Europe, whatever. So step 1, research. First, research the country that you have in mind. Research the language if you haven't already been learning it. And find out if you actually want to learn it, first of all. Take for example, I don't enjoy speaking Spanish. I took it for 2 years. I never enjoyed learning it. I never enjoyed trying to speak it. And I never had any plans to communicate in it. But the same doesn't go for Japanese with me. I enjoy trying to learn Japanese. I enjoy speaking it, and I think it's mostly because there aren't any conjugations. I love that about Japanese. There aren't conjugations. You, I, he, she, it, they, us. The verb stays the same, and it's wonderful. But research the language, the culture, the politics. If it's not safe in the country right now, don't even consider going there. Just don't. Your parents probably won't be okay with it. You don't want to be in a country with a lot of political turmoil going on, and the likelihood that you'll find a program that'll take you there is much less likely. Culture, language, politics. And if you decide that you really want to go, then ask yourself how long you want to go for. How much money am I willing to spend on this? How much am I willing to work for this? And if you're taking it as a way out, as a vacation, if you're doing it to be lazy and you don't think that you can adapt to a new culture, don't bother, please. It won't be good for you. It won't be good for the people around you. And you might end up going home early. You have to make sure that you really want to do this because it's not easy. It's a lot of fun. It is. But there's also a lot of troubles. Next, step number 2, research and find a program for you. Now, the first 2 things that you should check before anything else are the requirements to apply for the program. The age requirement and the GPA requirement are the 2 big ones. Take, for example, Japan. A lot of programs going to Japan, that will take students to Japan, they don't take students that turn 18 during their program a lot of the time. There's a minimum age requirement, which is usually around 15, and there's a maximum age requirement, which is usually around 18. Sometimes older with some companies. It varies. That's why you need to check. GPA requirement is a big one too. And as always, if you don't meet the requirements, if you're close but not quite, still try. If you don't have another option and you really want to go and it's worth it, still try. You might get it. Probably not. Don't get your hopes up, but still try. Make sure, and after the requirements, make sure that the rules work for you. Say you are a drinker and a smoker, even if you're a teenager, and you're probably not supposed to be doing that. We all know that it's not an uncommon thing. If you can't stop drinking for the time that you're on exchange, and your program doesn't let you drink or smoke, it'll probably be hard on you, and you have to realize that if you get caught doing those things abroad, you'll probably get sent home early, and you won't get your money back. You won't get your money back. Those are the big things, but some companies vary on that. That's the big thing. The 2 big things that people would really look at is if it's okay to date while you're abroad. My company doesn't allow it, and my company is CCI Greenheart Travel in the United States. I have a different company in Japan called JFIE. Now, take Rotary Exchange for example, and they aren't similar to the exchange programs that I really looked into, because a lot of them require that you host an exchange student before or after you get back for a similar amount of time. But they do allow drinking if you are of legal age to drink in the country that you're abroad, and your natural parents, your host parents, are okay with it, and you're responsible about it. You don't overdo it. No getting completely wasted, please. It's just a bad idea. If they're okay with it, then you're allowed to drink. But also keep in mind that Rotary Exchange does not allow dating on exchange. I can talk about why dating isn't a good idea for exchange in another video, but I'd also like to do that one as well as a review of my programs after I get back to the United States. Now, so you check the rules, then research the company itself, make sure that they're legitimate, that they're not just going to take your money and walk away, that it's not a scam. You need to make sure about that. How they screen the host families. Make sure that they do it properly, that there's some legal assurance that they're safe. Make sure that the company will keep you safe. Check what your tuition covers, check the tuition. And if you can't afford the tuition, start researching scholarships connected to that company. Now, you can find scholarships outside of a company as well. I didn't use any scholarships, but I did consider it. Now, some scholarships will involve writing essays, and those are fairly competitive, but they also cover a lot of money. Some require have a GPA requirement for scholarships. AFS is 3.5. If you have a 3.5 GPA, then you are eligible to apply for a scholarship with their program. Okay. Now, after all that research, and you've picked out a few programs that you like and you think suit you, and do not compromise unless you have to, because the program is really one of the biggest things about exchange. They are very involved in your life most of the time. They are very relevant, and if you can't follow their rules, you might want to find a company whose rules you can't follow. Yes, so after all of that, composite the information, put it all together, and start thinking of how to try and convince your parents. Now, I hope that you've already asked yourself, am I mature enough to do this? Can I go away from home and be okay for 3, 6, 10 months? Maybe it's just a few weeks. If you can, and you are very confident in that, then go for it. Start trying to convince your parents. Now, the best way to do this, especially if your parents are completely closed to the idea, don't give up. I tried convincing my parents for years. You need to show them that you're mature enough to do this, that you're mature enough to live on your own, to live in somebody else's home and respect them and yourself and the people around you, and not make a total ass of yourself. Also, mature enough to handle money on your own, whether you show that by budgeting your money or by having your own job, that you save money for the program or for personal use or college use, whatever it is. Show them that you're mature enough and talk to them about it. Assure them that you're safe and talk about the country and why it's safe. And the biggest selling points are probably that it's good for your future. Being bilingual can be helpful in so many ways. And if they say, oh, well, you can go after college or during college or on your own time, tell them how it's different to be a student in a country, and tell them about, I'll try and include a link if I can find it, but how in clinical studies it's shown that learning a language in an immersive environment is more effective before the age of 17 or 18. And from there on, it gets harder and harder to learn a language. As you become an adult, it becomes harder and harder, and your brain just doesn't quite pick it up as quickly. It's really is better for you to learn it as a child or as a teenager. Tell them about that. Tell them how it looks good on college applications, because it does. And after you've convinced everyone involved that if you've convinced your parents and you are applying for the program and you're going through the entire application, which you should find on their website, and you should also call and ask questions to them if you have any, and you can't find it in their FAQ. After all of that, start talking to your high school counselor. Tell them that you're going to do this. You might want to talk to them prior and find out if you can and how you can get credits abroad, because for example, I don't take tests in Japan. Right now, everybody else is taking tests, and I'm in the library with the other exchange student, and we study on our own for the test hours. So that means that I can't really get a grade for every class. I can't get a grade for any class. And Japan, the school will not graduate me, despite the fact that I would be graduating this year in the United States. Now figuring out how to get those credits from your school in your host country, in your country abroad, getting that to your school in the United States, you need to talk to your counselor about that. And if you don't think that you can graduate on time, ask yourself if you're okay with that, because I'm not graduating on time, and I used to be completely averse to the idea. But really, I know that it's worth it, because I'm having a lot of fun here, and I realize that doing exchange it's good for me. It's good for my future, and it's turning me into a better person. You need to really ask yourself if you're okay with that, and after all that is done, you need to go through the application, and those are fun. Don't lie. You can embellish all you like, but I don't recommend lying. My program, for example, if they find out that you lied about anything on the application, they can send you home early. Now, I don't know how they would, and I don't know why you would lie, but yeah, I've heard stories. Oh, how many stories I've heard. Well, that is all the information I can squeeze out of my brain. So, if you have any questions, I will do my best to answer them in the comments down below, if anybody bothers to comment. But thank you. Good luck, and bye.